In this video, we're going to be reviewing the DetailGuardz Dirt Lock. Check it out. Okay guys, so I am here in my detailing trailer and I want to review the DetailGuardz Dirt Lock. Now, this thing is pretty awesome. This review is going to be a little bit different. This is not going to be a review where I show you in a nice transparent 5-gallon bucket what it can do. There's a lot of videos already out there like that. And really everybody knows what these dirt locks, grit guards do. Basically, the idea is when it's placed on the bottom of your bucket, dirt, debris, stuff fall through it, settles at the bottom, and the idea behind the grates here, as you see, is that turbulence is not going to make the particles go back up into your wash media and water and everything like that. Now, with these, with the 2-bucket method, with 1-bucket method, if you're using a grit guard and you're using a nice wash mitt and you're washing a grungy vehicle, the water is going to get grungy no matter what you do. So having a 2-bucket method works because with those really grungy vehicles, you are at least putting the grunge into 1 bucket and then cleaning your mitt, putting it into a nice soap bucket, and then back to your paint. So that's the methodology behind it, is you're keeping your mitt, your wash media, as clean as possible. So our technique is a little bit different, and really it's due to timing as well and efficiency. The 2-bucket method is awesome, and I do use that every once in a while, but it can also take longer to wash the vehicle because of the frequency of going back and making sure that that mitt is nice and clean. There's a couple of different ways of working around that, using just multiple mitts, wash a few panels, put that mitt aside to wash later, and just keep using multiple mitts, which I actually like that idea too. And I might use that in my next details as well. I think that's a great idea because you're always keeping your wash media nice and clean. So with us, we will thoroughly rinse the vehicle, do an APC rinse, and try to get all the nasty grit and junk off of the paint first, and then we foam it, and then we use our buckets with our wash media and the dirt lock, or I still have a grit guard that I use in other buckets that I use, but I now have switched over to using the dirt lock, and I will smush it in here, which, as you see, it's kind of a cool vortex looking design. So it's designed again to push your wash media against. It gets all that gunk out. And even if you don't do that, even if you don't push your wash media against this and you just wring it out in the water above it, particles are going to fall and go to the bottom and stay there. They're not going to go back up. So that's the idea, is keeping all the heavy grit and junk down there. Now, I did test this with just putting like a little teaspoon of sand or grit that I just got from the ground nearby, like in my grass area, and I dumped it in the water and I let it sit for a while, and yes, the heavy particles went all the way to the bottom, but the water was still a little murky just because there are super fine particles that are just going to float. They're not going to go to the bottom. They're not going to go anywhere. They're just going to be in the water. And there's no way of really getting around that. So even if you're trying to use the 2-bucket method and keep your wash media as clean as possible, the water itself is going to have tiny microparticles of dirt or whatever that's floating that is going to be in your mitt no matter what you do, unless you're rinsing your mitt out completely after each section pass of washing your vehicle. But again, that's time consuming. That takes up a lot of time. When you're a mobile detailer, you don't have the convenience of that time. You need to act fast, you need to work efficiently. This method works great for us. I use 1 bucket, and if I need to refill that bucket with fresh water, I have extra buckets here. I have 60 gallons of water in my tank that I can just simply refill the bucket, no problem. So the construction on this is really nice. I mean, it's heavy duty. It's not just a dinky light grate, which, you know, the other grit guards were fine for the time, but this is just heavy duty. I mean, it's like 1.5 inches thick, and it's not flimsy plastic. This thing will last you a lifetime. You can probably run this over and it won't break. Nah, I won't try that. But comes with these nice little flexible tabs that slide right into a standard 5-gallon bucket. So I have just my blue 5-gallon bucket that I got from Walmart. They sell these dirt cheap, and they're blue, and they don't have the Walmart logo on them, which I like. They're just your standard 5-gallon bucket, and it's the normal size. Sometimes they sell a slightly smaller 5-gallon bucket. It's like a 4.5 gallon, and these don't fit all the way to the bottom. They'll go like right about there, and they won't go all the way to the bottom, which is so annoying. But this does. So let me grab the camera and show you how it fits into the bucket. Here's my standard 5-gallon bucket. I have my Gamma lid on here, which I've had this same Gamma lid for, man, years. I love these. If you're interested in these screw top Gamma lids, I got links down below. These are just awesome. I love them. So here is the dirt lock. Now, perfect. Fits perfectly. It goes all the way to the bottom, nice and level, no problem at all. So let me get the camera down there a little bit deeper to kind of show you what it looks like all the way down here. Fits snugly around the edge. And it's not going to move anywhere either. It actually locks here. That was the handle rattling. But yeah, it locks in there. So I got water in there right now. I don't want to pour it into my trailer. But it stays in there. It locks in, which is awesome. And then it has these little tabs, so you can put your finger into these like a little bowling ball, and you lift it up. And these tabs actually are like little flexible plastic pieces in here. So you can actually grab a hold of them and they flex. Try to actually get my finger in there. Oh, here, I'll do it from the other side. So as you see, they flex like that. So you can get your finger in there to pull it up. Now, if you do have one of those buckets, so this is the normal size one. Now this one I got from Walmart years ago. I just use it as my trash bin. But if you notice, it literally is 1 inch smaller, but the grit guard does not go all the way to the bottom, which is so annoying. It would only go about this way, about halfway down. So, you know, for those of you who like that, if you want this raised up a little bit, it could be good, but it also puts pressure on the sides around here, and I find myself pushing it more and more and more, and then sometimes it wouldn't level out. It would kind of go sideways like that inside the bucket, and just, it wasn't good. It wasn't working. So I make sure to get a standard 5-gallon. Make sure that it's big enough to be able to have your grit guard or your dirt lock in there perfectly, all the way to the bottom, nice and level, locked in so it doesn't move. So it's deceiving, but here I have the standard 5-gallon, and this one is just another one that I got from Walmart, just a white bucket, but it wasn't the standard size. It's a little bit narrower And when you try to fit any type of grit guard or dirt lock in here, okay, so it goes kind of 3/4 of the way, but I found as I was using it, it would do that, which is pretty annoying. And it would get locked in sideways, so you'd have to try to level it as best as you can and push it and push it and push it and try to level it. But again, that's putting pressure around the sides here, which is not good. And I had it happen to this one where it actually cracked around that edge because I was putting too much pressure on it trying to lock it in place, and it wouldn't work. So if you can find a way to do that, if you want to place something in the bottom of this, that's fine, but I don't like it in a bucket that, yep, see, it's not even really locked in place. I don't like it in that. I want it to go all the way to the bottom without any problems. Locked, perfect. That's what I want. So just be mindful when you're buying 5-gallon buckets. Maybe bring that along with you. It's a little weird. Be testing out buckets in Walmart or at Home Depot or wherever you go to find these 5-gallon buckets, and drop it in and see if it fits. Now, if you have the problem where the bucket is too large, then they have a fix for that. Now, I don't need these, so I'm not going to put them on, but I'll keep them just in case I do come across a 5-gallon bucket where I need it. But they have these little foam tabs, so you can, of course, take off the little sticker back there, stick them on, and then if the bucket is just a little bit bigger, then this will keep it snug. Now, that could work in that white bucket, but then again, I don't want it to go halfway. I want it to go all the way to the bottom. So it could work, but I don't like it. So I'll use my blue bucket. I bought 2 of these, or 3 of them, I think. That way I have a bunch of them in stock if I need them. But they do have a fix for some other buckets. They sell these old tabs, or they'll put them in the order for you if you need them. That way you can just glue them to the side here, and then you don't have to worry about it not fitting correctly. So overall, again, the construction of this thing is awesome. This is heavy duty. And another interesting thing to notice is with the grit guard, it's basically just like a grate that just goes straight through. So if you notice with these, they're actually shaped like little cones. But what I mean is it's wider in the top and it gets smaller to the bottom. So you have these big openings up here, small openings in the bottom. And again, that is so that dirt goes through, falls all the way to the bottom, and this limits any turbulence on the bottom of your bucket. Now, another thing that I tested out, which didn't really make a difference, I've heard some guys say that when you put this in the bucket and you put soap in here, or if you have soap in the bottom of your bucket and you are putting your hose in here, that it will act almost like a jet. So the water will go through here and it's forced out through the bottom here, and it's going faster. The water is going faster. That's the idea behind it, so that it creates more foam. I didn't find that to be the case. It works the same way if you have the original grit guard and you try to fill it up, or no grit guard and you fill it up with soap and fill up with water. It's the same thing. It's not going to make it any foamier or any soapier or anything like that. So I actually made a video on it, but the results look the same, and I figured that was kind of a waste of time. So I'll just explain it. If you want to test it out yourself, go ahead, but it doesn't make a difference. It's not going to make the bucket more soapy or more foamy because of the design of this. Yeah, the water probably does go through a little bit faster, but you don't notice a difference with it making more suds in your bucket. What I'm really impressed with is the construction. It's just heavy duty. It's awesomely designed. And just like their wheel guards, awesome construction. I actually ran one of these over. Trying to remember which one I actually ran over. So I actually ran this one over. I forgot I had it under the wheel, and I had it, of course, you know, the wheel is here, the back of the wheel here, and I backed up on it and it kind of shot it out, and it did crush it a little bit, but I thought it broke it all to pieces, and it didn't. I mean, it definitely did some damage, and it kind of crushed this piece. This doesn't rotate anymore, but pretty good test. My stupidity and just forgetting, and I crushed this poor little thing. But yeah, still works fine, no problem. These don't have to, you know, they don't have to spin, they don't have to turn. It's nice if they do, but they don't have to. Oh, the top one still does. This one doesn't. It's stuck. Oh wait, it does. Look at that. Just barely. I think I actually snapped it right down the middle. Yep. But they work great. So the other three are fine. They just fell. So awesome construction. That's really what I'm impressed with, is the construction quality of this, and it's just an awesome piece of kit to have for your detailing. And yeah, I definitely say upgrade, invest in the Dirt Lock. Again, I think Chemical Guys and a few other companies have similar ones to this, but this design I think is just way better. To have these ridges up here to clean your towel on. The Chemical Guys one doesn't really have that. It just has the tiny holes. This one just has it all. It's just really well thought out and well constructed. So awesome job, DetailGuardz. You put out some really good products. I mean, look at that. Awesome quality. Okay guys, so that does it for my review of the DetailGuardz Dirt Lock. I really do think it is an awesome piece of equipment to use with your buckets when washing. And yeah, definitely check out the links below. There are links to their website, there are links to Amazon, and really good prices too. So definitely check those out and see for yourself if they work for you. Especially the wheel guards. Those work awesome. You will find yourself using those a lot because it just saves you time and annoyance when you have to run your pressure washer cord or your extension cord or your vacuum hose around the vehicle and it gets stuck under the tire. Drives me nuts. So click up here, check out that review also. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I know it's a little bit weird in my trailer here, but I might shoot some videos in here just because I like the setup of having the camera and my table and everything right in here as I'm working, either before or after I go to work for the day. So give the video a thumbs up, like it if you have enjoyed it, and definitely subscribe and click that bell. That way you get notifications each time our videos drop each week and you don't miss stuff. So we'll see you next time. Have a great day.